Conference is important because this is obviously a major concern. It's a major human concern, the issue that you're addressing, which is the care of children and the importance of good care for children. There's clearly, I suppose, it's important also because there's a combination of policy and practice that comes together here. And this is not always the case. So sometimes the conferences are more about practice, sometimes they're more about policy. There's a combination of policy and practice. So this is good. I think what's interesting about the interface between policy and practice is that policy simplifies things. There's clearly, you get into, there's lots of debate about certain things that people feel strongly about at the policy level. I think as soon as you get down to practice levels, it gets more complicated. So the first question, I suppose, what do we need to know more about, is we need to know more about matching the needs of children with the placements that they're offered. It's not a simple question about one type of placement is better than others. So at the policy level, that may be necessary to be clear that some things are preferable. But the position on the ground is much more complicated. So the first thing we need to know much more about is how to match the needs of children with the care that we offer, the alternative care we offer. If children are returning to their birth families, then the question is not quite so prominent. But if they're in alternative care, what are the factors that matter in trying to select appropriate care? The degree to which, for example, identity issues are taken seriously, how important it is to be placed with families with the same identity and origin as yourself. How important is that? How important is it that children are placed in families with other children? These kind of things, there are important matters we know rather little about, and we need to know a lot more about not just a general principle of what is best. I think that's not the most important question. Even to the degree that for a few children, institutional care might be best, and that might be a step too far. I get that. I mean, in general, I get the principle that children benefit better from families. But again, what's been highlighted in the conference already is it's not actually just the structure that matters. It's what's the quality of relationships within these settings. And the puzzle is that you can get quality of relationships in settings that are really not very kind of promising. So if you start with the quality of relationships rather than the structures, you end up with some different conclusions. And so the first is that we need to know how to match needs with placements. That would be my first thing that we need to address. The second is, I think, that we get those decisions wrong. Not all the time, but we get them wrong, and that's what we mean by placement breakdown. The children who do worse in alternative care are children who are offered a continuous process of different types of alternative care, and that there are clearly some children who are offered alternative care. They might be offered alternative care relatively young, and they remain in stable foster placements, possibly adoption in some families, in some countries, and they do relatively well. But there are other children of which they go through processes of continuous change and conflict who do poorly, and we need to know more and more about not just the reasons for breakdown. Reasons for breakdown are not very complicated, they're pretty easy to spot. What we need to know much more about is how to address difficulties when breakdown is possible. And I think there are lots of things we can do to avoid breakdown. And I'd say breakdown we kind of know that it doesn't really do a lot. The same problem will emerge again. Just changing placements doesn't solve the difficulties of placements. What we need to do is to support families more effectively when placement breakdowns occur.